Um, there's been disturbing developments in the last few days in the UK regarding child sexual abuse in Oxfordshire. This seems to be coming amidst a trend of high-profile abuse cases which are involving Asian men. I should say in the UK, Asian specifically means South Asian, specifically Pakistani. Um, and I've just been reading in the Times, so this isn't tabloid fodder, this isn't something the tabloids are stirring up, this is this double-page report from the Times today. I'll show you that. The 6 men you can see there in the picture have all been, actually 7 men, have all been arrested for their role in this orchestrated child abuse. We're not talking about young women here, we're talking about girls as young as 13, young teenage girls who are basically vulnerable, impressionable. And I've read some testimonies there. Apparently these girls saw these guys as being like flashy and powerful. People were scared of them, they sort of acted like a gang. And it's a classic case of a vulnerable victim being taken in by scum, basically. This comes on top of the Rotherham abuse scandal, and now there's calls for a national debate. That's the pretext of this report. There's also been serious abuse in Derby, Telford, Birmingham, Rochdale and Bristol. And in all of these cases it is involving predominantly Asian men. Some cases African men, but predominantly South Asian, Pakistani. The testimonies given are very revealing and very disturbing, and also some of the police reports. For example, one of the abusers apparently told police that he saw the girls as slags, and that it was, in their mindset, it was okay because they were outside their ethnic group. The majority of victims are young white girls, 1 or 2 Asian girls as well, but the majority are young white girls. Now, anyone talking about this even 2 or 3 years ago would automatically have been branded an Islamophobic racist. This really angers me as much as it should anger anyone with a conscience. One of the things that was revealed from the Rotherham abuse scandal, which came to prominence last year but which has been going on for several years, is that there was a culture of political correctness and sensitivity by the local authorities to act on this in case they were accused of being racist or Islamophobic. This makes me very angry because it shows that this sort of bullshit is a big problem. It's a problem because not only because it's not honest, but because it actually prevents justice, literally prevents justice. And so now what we're seeing is a long stream of grovelling apologies by the authorities, by police services, by local councils, saying they should have done more. Damn right they should have done more. But those apologies don't mean anything if nothing changes. I do think there should be a national debate on this. And already I'm seeing excuses. I'm seeing things online like, oh well, you can't just blame Asian men, paedophiles exist across the board. Yes, that is true. Paedophiles come in from all ethnic backgrounds, but it is indisputable that there is a specific problem that is disproportionate within the Pakistani community. It's a fact. It's just a fact. So trying to dismiss it and trying to say, oh well, stop blaming the Pakistanis or something, it's cowardly, quite frankly. And it makes me very angry that there are people stupid enough to try to make excuses and try to deflect as if it's this is not something that is specifically a problem within the Pakistani community. Yes, you get white paedophiles and gangs as well, but in all of these cases it's specifically Pakistani men. And as a nation we need to speak out about this and protect these vulnerable young women. I find it sickening that there are people who are blaming the victims and saying that they're awkward girls and this sort of thing. These were adult men who made a decision to exploit vulnerable young women. girls, not even young women, girls. In many cases they were beaten, they were used as sex slaves essentially. Of course it started off, they were given promises and they were friends and so on, but um, I think there comes from a racist mentality within the Pakistani community about looking down on people outside their community, specifically white girls. The very fact that they see them as trash, and the fact that the majority of victims were white girls rather than Pakistani girls, shows that there is a racist mentality among these scumbags. I believe there needs to be very, very harsh sentences. These guys need to spend years behind bars. But there also needs to be a change in attitudes in society. Um, and it isn't just a change in attitudes in the Pakistani community, which is this wall of silence and denials that it exists, but also the political left also need to change their attitude, because they are especially guilty of, when I say they, I'm talking about certain people on the political left. Every single time that there is an issue regarding Muslims in the media, they immediately shout about Islamophobia. This infuriates me. This cowardly attitude. My message to those on the political left is wake up. Wake up. It's no good just saying, oh, it's just Britain first or the far right that's stirring this up. This is a real problem. And these councils and police forces have had to accept it's a problem. So when you say things like talking about this is Islamophobic, you are part of the problem. I really do believe the political left is partly culpable, because they have fostered this cowardly political correctness that means even talking about the issue cannot be done without some idiot saying it's racist. And frankly, people like that infuriate me. That doesn't mean that racism doesn't exist, but if we cannot protect young girls from sexual exploitation because we're so pathetically scared of being called racist, then what sort of society are we? Are we really so spineless? I believe that police forces and councils need to be given the power. Well, actually, it's not that they don't have the power, it's that they're not acting on it. I know the Prime Minister has met with victims and he has promised there'll be more action, but we need to stop being so damn politically correct and accept this for what it is. There is a specific problem within the Pakistani community. And you know, that's at least 5 different towns where this has been going on. I wouldn't be surprised if there's other cases that are still to be reported. So we do need a national debate, and there needs to be a change in attitudes in these communities. If there are Pakistani men who look down on white girls as being trash, as being treated like dogs or whatever, that mentality needs to change. And not by blaming the victims, but by putting the blame solely on these scumbags who are committing the crimes. Police forces shouldn't be frightened of being accused of racism. Councils shouldn't not act because in case they're accused of racism. And it just infuriates me that the political left cannot get their fucking head out of the sand and recognise this as a problem. I'm sorry for the language, but it's just plain wrong. And this is actually proof that political correctness isn't just irritating, it is actually dangerous. Literally, it is dangerous, because if it is preventing action, if it is preventing victims of serious crime getting justice, then it is actually dangerous.